Greetings gastronauts, this is KeefCooks. I'm Keef and today I'm going to do one of the best known Brit dishes ever. I'm going to make fish and chips and chip shop curry sauce. Oh yeah. So I've done videos on fish and chips a couple of times, but this one I'm doing slightly differently because I'm going to use animal fat, not vegetable oil, which should please quite a lot of people who've been critical of my fish and chips in the past. And the chip shop curry sauce I also did about 100 years ago, and I think it's due for a remake because I'm going to do one or two little tweaks that might please some other commenters, because there's always people who disagree with what you do. Anyway, let's get on with it. Fish, chips, chip shop curry sauce. Yum, yum, yum. If you enjoy this video, give it a like, share, subscribe, etc. And let's get on with it. Okay, I'm going to make the curry sauce first. So you need 250ml of natural yogurt, plain yogurt, 250ml of chicken stock or vegetable stock, a small onion, a Granny Smith apple, optional, a teaspoon of ground cumin, teaspoon of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of mild chili powder, and half a teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice powder. Also 2 teaspoons of mild curry powder and a teaspoon of ground turmeric. So yeah, so I said this was slightly different from the last time I did it about 7 years ago, in that I'm going to add apple, which I believe they do in chip shops down south, but generally up north I don't think they do that. I'm not an expert, so you know, don't quote me. And also the Chinese 5-spice powder. I think that'll be nice and tasty. So we need to chop the onion. So to peel the apple, I'm going to use this ridiculous machine that I bought. I'll put a link down below if you want to get one, because it's quite fun. It works on spuds as well. So yeah, you kind of stick your apple on the prongs, and then you wind the handle, and this blade takes off the peel, and as it goes through, the core gets dealt with as well. Ta-da! And what I've got is a big a big spring of apple. I love that. Right, we're going to start cooking this thing. So the first thing you want to do is heat up some sunflower oil I've got in a frying pan or a wok or something like that. Add the onions and let them sweat for about 5 minutes. You want them to go soft but not browned. Then you can add the spices and let them toast for a minute or so. Get the aromas going. And then add the stock and the yogurt and mix them all together and just let them bubble away for about 5 minutes. I should explain that chip shop curry sauce doesn't have a lot to do with any proper Indian curry or Chinese curry. It's just a thing that happened. I don't know the history of it, but I think probably since like the 70s or the 80s you've been able to get curry sauce in chip shops in the UK, and it sounds weird, but it's brilliant on chips, and it's not bad with fish either, so don't be scared. I'm going to add the apple and let that cook for a couple of minutes. Now this is looking quite runny, so what I'm going to do is make up a slurry of corn flour or cornstarch and cold water. Mix those together, and we can add that into the mixture, and it will thicken it up without curdling or clumping into lumps. Alright, that's all kind of cooked in, so we'll have a little taste. Okay, it's not quite there yet. I'll probably need some salt and pepper, maybe some extra curry powder, but I'll do that in a minute. Also, it won't blending to a smooth paste. But in the meantime, I need to get on with making the batter for the fish and sorting out the spuds for the chips. For the batter, you want some plain all-purpose flour, about that much. I bet you want to know what that weighs, don't you? Fortunately, I've got 2 of these bowls, so I can work out what the tare is. 268 grams, so I'll put that on. That tells me I've got 42 grams of flour in there. Let's try and make it 50. Okay. Pinch of salt. Mix those together, and then just enough beer to make it come together in a thick, sort of like thick paint. So I use beer. This is Abbott Ale, which is I think they call it a pale ale. You can use any kind of beer, and it's just for fizz. If you don't do alcohol, you can use soda water or, you know, sparkling water, as long as it's not sweetened. And yeah, most types of beer will work, but I don't recommend Guinness unless you want black batter. Anyway, give that a good old mixy and set it aside till we need it. I've got some spuds. These are Maris Pipers. They weigh over 500 grams, which is probably far too much for 2 people, but hey. So I'm just cutting the ends off, and then I'm going to use that machine again, see if I can peel them. Ha-ha. Yeah, so what I really mean is, can I peel them without coring them and slicing them or spiralising it? And I've discovered that this can be dropped down out the way, so the only sort of blade that's active is the peely one. So we might be able to do it. Well, it's not enjoying the irregular shape of this potato, which is a shame. That saved us no time whatsoever. Yeah, so I'll just finish it off by hand. Hey ho. So I cut them into, well, sticks about 12 millimeters on a side. That's half an inch. And pop them in cold water, and that'll help remove any excess starch from the potatoes, which would cause them to burn before they'd actually cooked in the middle, kind of thing. Okay, I'm ready to start cooking the chips. So I'm going to cook them in beef dripping, and this is an example of the way that cooks change their techniques, their attitudes over time, because I would never use this previously because I was scared of it. I thought it was bad for you. Turns out it's much better than most oils. And it always was the traditional fat to cook fish and chips in. So that's what I'm doing. So I've got 500 grams of this. So for the first stage, you don't want it really hot. You want it at technically 130 degrees Celsius. And you cook the chips until, you know, they kind of feel soft, but they're not browned on the outside. While that's melting, you can dry some of your chips off. I'm not going to do all of these at this time, because Mrs. KeefCooks will want some later. So those will need to cook for about 10 to 15 minutes till they're nice and soft, but not brown. Meanwhile, I'll finish off the curry sauce. I've got the curry sauce. It's not completely smooth, but you know, I would need to spend a lot more time on it to achieve that with a stick blender. However, I've heated it up, I've tasted it, and added a bit more salt and a bit more curry powder, and now I'm cooking it for 5 or 10 minutes because the little bits of apple are still crunchy, so they need to be not crunchy. Meanwhile, chips part 1 are ready, so I'll take those out. I've got a colander lined with kitchen paper. Oh, that was soft, as it's meant to be. And we'll whack up the heat on this now to cook the fish in. So I've got some cod loins. Very disappointing bits of fish actually. In the last year I've been buying cod loins. They're a bit more pricey than cod fillets, but they're usually thicker and more, you know, kind of flaky and luscious and wonderful. These are rubbish. So I don't know what's going on. Got them from Aldi. Anyway, you can use any white fish. Haddock, coley, pollock. What's that new one? Bassa. I don't recommend bassa or pollock. So basically they're a bit short on flavour, but they are cheap. So there you go. Right. So coat those in flour and get your. Hang on. This is smoker here. Woo! This is way too hot. We're gonna have to delay things for a moment while that cools down. It's still a bit too hot. 197. We're aiming for 190, but that should be okay. And we'll just gently lower the fish in. And that will probably take 5 to 10 minutes to get a nice golden brown crispy batter on the outside and well cooked flaky fish on the inside. So basically the idea with fried fish like this is the batter forms a solid case around the fish, and the fish steams within it, and you get this lovely contrast of the crispy batter and the soft fish. I did see something on that interwebs recently where somebody claimed that everybody was eating fish wrong. He said you're supposed to throw the batter away and just eat the fish, which is astounding and not the way that anybody else does it, as far as I can tell. Alright, those are definitely done, so I'll take them out and stick them on a warm plate while I finish off with chips. So we just put the chips back in for a few minutes for them to go golden and brown and crispy. Also, if you've got any leftover batter, you might want to just dribble it into the hot fat, fry it, because this makes what we call in the north scraps. And usually in a chip shop these appear by magic. It's just excess batter from the actual fish. And you'll be offered them for free. They'll say, do you want scraps? And you say, yeah, you just do. Okay, taste test time. So there's my lovely fish. And its lovely batter. It's lovely. It's not as crispy as it should be because it's been hanging around for a while. Oh yeah, that works. So there you go. One of Britain's great national dishes. Fish and chips and curry sauce. Absolutely wonderful. So, thanks for watching and see you next time.